Do you want a financially secure future, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones as well? This is Generations of Wealth, the podcast that breaks down the most effective wealth building strategies you can easily apply to your own life. Join investor and international best-selling author Derek Dombeck in exploring practical tips and sound advice on building a profitable business, creating a powerful brand, or getting into the thriving world of real estate investing. This is your chance to create your very own financial roadmap to live your vision, love your life. Let's begin this discussion with your host, Derek Dombeck.
Welcome to the Generations of Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Derek Dombeck, and today's show is going to be fantastic because we've got a good friend of mine. Her name is Isabelle Guarino, and I've known Isabelle now for several years. We were in a mastermind together. We've got to know each other very well during that mastermind, but she is one of the most kind-hearted people that you could possibly ever imagine meeting, and she's going to talk all about RALs, which is real estate assisted living facilities, and how you can take a house and convert it into an RAL and cash flow like crazy. But before we bring Isabelle on, I just want to thank everybody. This has been going on now for, I want to say we're on episode 40, somewhere in there. And I can't tell you how great it is for me to know that the Generations of Wealth family is growing. We're spreading knowledge all around the country and the world. And that's because of people like you who listen to our show all the time. Or if you just found it, thanks for finding it. But get out there. Tell everybody about it. Send people to the show. Give us the likes, the reviews, and the shares, and help us grow the community. And now, as promised, Miss Isabelle Guarino. Isabelle, thank you so much for joining us on the Generations of Wealth podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I don't really know how much I'm going to tell the audience about our past, but we've known each other for a few years now. We actually were in a mastermind together, and I'm actually not going to tell the public anything about us personally. But we've gotten to know each other in a setting where it's very intimate and to a point where we get to really see how good each other is. And I would say you are way better than I am on that side of things.
Too kind.
If you wouldn't mind, just introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, I'm Isabelle. I'm the COO of Residential Assisted Living Academy. We're basically the nation's leading expert on senior housing in a residential setting. So I own and operate a couple of those homes myself, and I also teach others how to do that.
And I think you're being a little bit modest because you are considered one of the elite experts in the country, if not the world, when it comes to residential assisted living, right?
Thank you. Yes. Well, we've definitely been training on it, I think one of the longest, and we're one of the only people who really focuses on teaching business investors and, business owners. A lot of other people in our industry, they show you how to maybe live in a care home or work in a care home. And that's not what we're focused on. We're focused on showing you how to run it as an operational business. So a little bit different strategy, but it's been a lot of fun to be able to share that, industry with so many people who are stuck in like the fix and flip and stuck in the wholesale and stuck in these modes that they were working for a long time, but they're just not hitting the same anymore.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of the people that come to me and listen to our show and that we see at other events that have only been operating in an increasing market or a good market now are, starting to see a shift in many of the locations they're in. And do you think that residential assisted living has the same challenges when it comes to fluctuating markets?
Yes and no, but I'm going to say this, the cost of living as that goes up, the cost of care matches it. So when real estate's more expensive and food and paying your caregivers is more expensive, the cost or the rate that the residents are paying to live in the home, it always matches it. And this has been true since the 1970s when this industry was really, started. So it's one of those things that over multiple now, recessions and different dips in our economy, it's always held its value. And that's a beautiful thing because when real estate costs more, you can only charge your tenants so much more. But when you're also providing 24/7 care, the sky is really the limit. So it's one of those businesses where our margins still look amazing, even though real estate's super expensive right now.
Well, maybe we should back up one step and just explain to people that have no clue what RAL even is.
Yes. Yes. So stands for residential assisted living. It's senior housing in a residential setting. So it's not that big commercial, facility you drive by, the Brookdale, Sunrise, Atria. That's not what this is, right? It's a single family home, a large luxury upscale single family home being used to house somewhere between 6 and 16 seniors in the home. 24/7 care, help with, medication management, feeding, bathing, toileting, all of those different things. But this is for a senior who doesn't want to go into that big traditional, hospital-like environment, but they can no longer safely stay at home alone. It's that in-between option.
So you said something that caught my ear. How do you decide how many people are going to go into a home? Who regulates that?
Your state will have a maximum number of residents allowed in the home. So, for example, Texas says 16, Dallas says 8. But if you go right outside of Dallas, you're allowed to have 16. So sometimes the cities will differ than the state. They'll never go above the state, right? But they'll sometimes go below. But for the most part, your state will give you a maximum number that you're allowed to have.
And so, since we're talking about state regulations, what does it look like as far as, do you have to have medical staff? Do you have to have fire protection systems and alarm systems and all of that fun stuff?
Yeah, you are going to be hiring a licensed administrator. In the real estate world, that's kind of like a property manager. So that's someone who's going to be hiring, firing, training, onboarding your caregivers. And that the caregivers do the day-to-day work with the seniors. So they're helping them with all of their activities of daily living, as well as cooking and cleaning in the home. Your administrator is really running the business side of it. They're dealing with the state and any, documents that need to be turned in. They're marketing the home to help fill it with new residents. They're dealing with the staff. So that is your key player. They're not doctors or nurses, and they're not paid like that either. A licensed administrator can typically oversee 2 to 4 homes full time. So it's not even one per home, right? It's a shared resource. The more homes you have, kind of the better off you are. As far as physical requirements for the home to get licensed through the state, some states will require fire suppression or sprinkler systems. Whether or not your state recommends it, we highly recommend that you do it anyways, because if the state does change their rule, you're already set up in place for that. But for the most part, they want your home to be senior safe. Doesn't need to be ADA compliant, but you want it as close to that as possible. So ramps, guardrails, handrails, things to keep the seniors safe.
Yeah, I don't really talk about it publicly too much, but my previous life, I spent 22 years installing sprinkler systems in commercial buildings. So I
Oh,
have crawled through more attics in assisted living buildings than I really care to admit. And there was one time there actually was a leak in a sprinkler system in a woman's closet that doused all of her clothes
oh
uh,
no.
with an antifreeze solution. The silver lining was she had Alzheimer's, so she didn't remember the next day that it happened. The staff washed all of her clothes, of course, but she had no clue it happened the next day. So,
Yeah,
silver lining, I guess.
there
Uh,
you go.
so okay, so I'm a house flipper, right? And I find a good deal on a house,
Yep.
and I start thinking this could fit for an RAL. Short of the obvious answer, get educated and trained by you guys because you're the best of the best. But how do you even start to analyze it? Is this a deal? Does it make money? How much money can it make?
Yeah. The first thing you want to determine is if it's in the right location. Because obviously, real estate at the end of the day, location, location, location. And specifically for this business, that means everything. So when I say that, what I mean is you want to be in an area where the majority of the population is 50 to 70 years old, making twice the median income, homeowners, college grads. That is not the senior living in the home, that's their adult child. They're
Mm.
the ones who decide that mom or dad needs care. They shop for the care and they choose the home or facility. So you want to be 5 minutes down the road from them. So location is key. When you're looking for the home, knowing how many residents you can have, is it 6, 10, 16, whatever, that's going to help you determine what type of home are you even looking for, right? We're not going to find a 16 bed, 16 bath on the market, but could we find something that's already 7 or 8,000 square feet and maybe it's a 6.5, and we walk in and we say, oh, perfect, I can convert this to become, a 1410 or something like that. That's what you're looking for. The home that already kind of has, the layout that you're looking for or the bones you're looking for. Single level is preferred. If not, you're going to have to add an elevator or a chair lift, which can get pretty expensive. So preferred single level, but location, right? And then the footprint is going to be huge as well.
So in my mind, as you see a market shift, especially with the larger homes that are starting to sit on the market longer, they're starting to see price reductions. That's opportunity for RAL.
Absolutely. I mean, we always say, like, I would buy a house full price to do this because the margins just work out so nicely. To find the average cost of care in your area, there's a website that you can go to. It will just give you a very simple average, but it's Genworth. We could put it in the show notes, Genworth /cost of care, genworth.com cost of care. On that website, you could type in the average rates in your area. In our country, the average is $5,350 per month per resident. So let's just call it $5,500. Okay. If you had 10 residents at $5,500, that's $55,000 gross coming in every month. Your mortgage is probably going to be $10,000 a month in most parts of the country, right? For a large enough home that can house that many people. And it's going to run you about $35,000 in expenses, paying for your staff, for food, for electricity, cable, you name it. That one home could be cash flowing you $10,000 a month as the owner operator. So that's what we show people how to do.
So you just said owner operator. Do I have to be involved in operating the actual care and the day-to-day of the business, of the home?
What we do and what we show you to do is not to be involved, right? We're showing you how to hire that licensed administrator who hires those licensed caregivers so you don't have to. I spend about 5 hours a week on all 3 of the care homes and visit them like every other month, maybe. They're 45 minutes down the road from me. So it's just enough that I'm not tempted to go out there. But if I have an appointment out that way, I'm like, okay, I'll swing by. So that's what we show people how to do. Of course, some people, they want to be more hands-on and you can do that. But for us, I want to run this, as passively as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Because I see a lot of people that get sucked in, right? To not to this business, but any business.
Any business,
And,
yeah.
the house flipper that is stroking their own paintbrush, swinging their own hammer, and they don't have the ability to scale because they're always, doing the labor.
Yeah.
So for RAL, the sky's the limit, I'm assuming. But some of your clients or students that you've worked with in the past, like how big do you think you can get?
We've had students who have had we have a student, I'm thinking of a couple right now. They're out in Colorado. They have a goal of having 100 of these. They're on home number 26 and they started in 2017. They're out in Denver. So you can go crazy. Most people are like, let me get 3 to about 6. The numbers I shared with you, that 5,500 with 10 residents, that's average. So the average includes our friends on government funding as well as our private pay friends. That's bringing us that middle of the line number. We don't focus on any government funding. We only do private pay. So most of my students all across the country, all 50 states, their rates are not 5,500. Their rates are more like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month per resident. So their numbers are a lot higher than $10,000 a month. But I like to share something that's like, you could do this kind of no matter where. This is what it is. But when you come to the training, you see that the sky is really the limit. So 26 homes, I think I think they have the most. I'm thinking of this other group of guys out in Wisconsin. And I know when they started, they bought a 10 pack. They bought 10 homes that were packaged together. And I think since then they bought in 12. So they're only at 22. They haven't beaten Mitch and Jen yet. So we'll see. There's a competition.
I'm curious, since I'm in Wisconsin, who that is, because I don't think I know them.
Rick and Paul. I'll connect you with them after.
Yeah, that'd be great. I always enjoy meeting locals in my market.
There you go.
So where do you think the business is going as far as need for RALs?
Ooh, great question. There is a massive lack of caregivers in our country today. It is the number one most in-demand job on every chart that I've ever seen, and people continue to send to me daily. It is a huge need, and there are not enough young people going into this industry. It's becoming now a course at many community colleges. They're starting to get, caregiver training sources, and Gen Z, they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. So we do not have enough people to care for the coming silver tsunami of seniors. Currently, the silent generation, 47 million of them, are in assisted living, right? It's the last of them. They're in the next 10 years, probably most of them will be passed on. The baby boomers, they're just barely starting to come into the market. So we've got a 20-year run ahead of us with 76 million in the baby boomer generation. 47 million over here, 76 million over here. We're almost doubling, right? The amount of seniors that are going to need care and assistance. And we're currently 1.3 million beds short. So when we talk about a lack of caregivers, there's a lack of bed, there's a lack of caregivers. This is a mega crisis that our country, our communities are going to be facing because of the way our world is right now, right? Call it whatever we want, inflation and all this stuff going on. People can't afford to just quit their job and go take care of a loved one at home anymore, whether it's a child or an elderly in your life. It doesn't matter. They're saying, no, I need to go make that double income. We both need to be out here working. So it is going to be a mega crisis. And when I see crisis, I see if we fix the crisis, this is a huge opportunity. So we need to find ways to staff these homes, and we need to find ways to get way more homes, because this is like, it's like a crystal ball that we're looking at, right? They call the transfer of wealth from the boomers to Gen X and millennials. No, it's not. It's taking a massive pit stop in assisted living. The average stay is 3.5 years. And if you're paying, $5,000-$6,000 a month, that is a huge chunk of your resources that's going to assisted living before it even touches your kids.
So where are you seeing, I know you're dealing in private only and not taking government subsidies. I envision the government is going to have to start subsidizing even more as this need gets bigger and bigger and worse. But specifically on the private pay side, where are most of these people coming up with the $8,000 to $10,000 a month? As you said, most of your students are getting that. Are they liquidating all of their assets, their homes, their stock portfolios, their 401ks, and then at the end of their nest egg, what happens to them? Because let's say they have enough money to live in a private facility for 2 years, but they live for 5 years. Do they exit and go into a public run or a subsidized home?
You are correct in your guesses, right? Most people are paying with their cash, their savings, their IRAs, their investments, or they're selling their physical homes. We have to remember 60% of the real estate in the US is owned by the boomers. So most of them don't just own one home. Many of them own 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 homes, right? So they'll sell all of those homes, and now they have capital to pay for this. So that is a lot. They also own most of the businesses in our country today. So they sell their business and they have a big exit, right? So there's many ways that they're coming up with the capital to pay for this, and they hold a lot more money than people realize, which is important. Most of the time, 10% of the population has long-term care insurance. If you have that, it's a beautiful way to pay for your care needs and not have to tap into your own resources. But most seniors are using their own resources to pay for this. Now, the other category of seniors, they're letting their adult children figure it out. So we have a lot of adult children who are paying the bill for their parents. And that's why so many people come to us to learn how, because they say, wait. I'm paying $5,000 a month for her to live in this home when she could live for free if I owned it and I could cash flow $10,000 a month. I'm getting in, right? So it's a good opportunity to serve your own family's possible needs, right? Or have a solution for them if they need it. And then also leave your kids a blessing, not a burden, right? Because it is, call it what it is a burden, when your senior, is like, boom, they need care. And it's like, where do we come up with 6K a month? And most siblings, this is where you get a lot of resentment and fight and all of this stuff going on, because it's a lot to become your loved one's caregiver. And if you're quitting your job to go do that, there's a lot of feelings involved, right? And so then putting them into a home, you may also have a lot of feelings involved, a lot of guilt and anger and frustration. And so, being able to control as much as you can by having a home that has top quality care, top quality food, and your loved one doesn't have to pay a dime, that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think probably the biggest fear as I'm thinking this through is the staffing side of things, and are you able to, you find the right house, you find the right location, and everything's ready, can you find the staff?
Yeah, staffing is definitely going to be the trickiest thing, over the coming years, as there's just such a lack of. 80% of this industry is run right now by immigrants, people from, other countries who maybe they were a doctor or a nurse somewhere else and they came over and that didn't translate. And so now they have a heart for seniors and they want to help, and they become a caregiver, an LPN, and a home health aide, an HHA, all sorts of different things. And then they come and work in these care homes and serve our seniors. So I don't have a solution. And, Asian countries are looking into robot caregivers. Maybe that's the way we go. I don't know. But that is by far going to be the biggest opportunity, is finding amazing staff and keeping them, for sure.
I don't know, Isabel. I just think maybe we have to change our vision and we have a new business idea. We got to come up with robot caretakers.
I know they exist in other countries, but then it freaks me out because I'm like, uh-oh, is this iRobot in real life? Like, are the robots going to take over?
I just go back to Jetsons, were a cartoon, and you may not remember the Jetsons, but they always had their little robot maid taking care of everything.
Yep, it's going to be that. They were ahead of their time.
Yeah. Could you actually like master lease properties and then not buy them, but master lease them and turn them into RALs?
Yeah, we do actually show people how to do on both ends of it. One end, buy and reno the real estate and then lease it to someone who's going to run the operations business in your home. Or on the other end, if you're saying I'm tight on cash or this isn't the right time to buy, lease from someone who's set it up for you. And these leases, they're typically 3, 5, 8, or 10-year leases. They're not 1 year. They're usually longer because the person who's running the operations company, they don't want to be kicked out, right? The business is based on the location and the brand and the reputation. They're trying to plant roots. So they don't want to have to move locations. So it's nice for the landlord because it's kind of like, I renoed it. Now I'm making money over and over and over every single month, instead of a regular reno or fix and flip where it's just like, okay, you make that money one time and where's the next check coming for 3 to 5 months? This is an opportunity to kind of have best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm starting to kick myself a little bit as we're talking, because I have a facility that I set up as a pad split, leasing out rooms in that regard. And there was a 14-bedroom building that was designed and built as an RAL. And this is going back about 2 years now, that I was making offers on. And ultimately, my intention was to turn it into a short-term rental for pad splits. It didn't sell. I mean, I didn't buy it. It didn't sell for the longest time. And it sold about 4 months ago now. And it was designed and built as an RAL. And I'm kind of shocked that it sat there as long as it did, which tells me there's very little competition in my market for that kind of stuff.
Potentially, it could be telling a lot of things. If the location's not right, or the rates aren't high in that area, it could be saying a lot of things, but hopefully it's not. And it is going to make whoever bought it a lot of money. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and do a little research now and see what they paid for it. Because like I said, I was involved on a construction side. I built a lot of RALs. Through the late 90s and up to about 2010, there was a lot of them going up. So interesting. Well, as we kind of wind down, I do ask most of my guests the same question. What should I have asked you that I did not? And it does not have to be about the topic we're talking about. It could be about anything.
What should you have asked me? I feel like you did great questions. I thought it was awesome. But I would say just in general, I know that I can make this industry sound easy because I'm talking about it every day and I'm in it every day. And so to me, after 10 years, it is somewhat easier, but this is not an easy industry. There's a reason that the reward is so high. It's because there is a lot of work that has to be done up front to make sure that things are done correctly. You've got to get it licensed through the state. There is staffing involved. We talked about liability and all of these different things that are not involved in any of the traditional real estate investing opportunities. So just keep that in mind. If you are listening and you're thinking about doing this, there is a lot involved. And so it is important to learn all of those steps so that you know exactly what to do. But above all else, make sure that this checks your heart box, because it's going to be one of those industries that tests you. So we say to do good and do well. There's a lot of cash flow and that's awesome, but there's a lot of cash flow in a lot of different opportunities. This has to also be your opportunity to make an impact and do something good and important in your community. So if it is ticking your boxes and it is making sense to you and you're listening now, take that next step and move forward in your, educational journey to decide, where you want to do this and how you want to do this and look into that further. But if you are like, going down the path of that sounds too hard, good. Stay away. It's okay. It is not for everyone, because you have to be willing to get punched in the face and get back up and go again. Like that's what this is. That's what this is. It's tough. It is tough. But once it's up, it's the best thing ever. So it's just that payoff that you need to be prepared for.
That was remarkable because I would have never thought of that question. As you're exiting, let's just say 10 years from now, you want to exit. Are these, number one, are they bankable? Are they financeable? And are they getting valued? These buildings being valued as a building, or are they being valued as a business?
So there's two components when you want to exit. There's the real estate side of it. So the home is being sold as a home. So whatever the value and the equity you've built in the home, that the home price is hopefully going to have increased over time. So if you bought it at 1.3 and it's 20 years later, maybe it's now 2 million or whatever the case is, the real estate's one side, but then the business is sold as a separate transaction, and that is worth 2 to 5 times the EBITDA. Obviously, if you're selling, you want it high, and if you're buying, you want it low, and it's worth what someone is willing to pay. But we help people work through business valuations all the time to really break that down and know and understand. It'll usually fall around 3 to 4 times the EBITDA, right in the middle, right there. But it is in that range for sure.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. These are all things. See, I say it on a lot of my shows, but I love this because I get to pick people's brain like you. Yeah, it's helping the whole world, but I'm the one that gets asked all the questions, and they're my own questions, and the curiosity gets handled right away. So
there you go. The best part of being a podcast.
Yeah, because it's glamorous and easy to do, and it's almost no work, right? just like RALs. But I know you've got some information, and we'll have a link at thegenerationsofwealth.com/RAL. But just for people to be able to go get more information, can you explain what's available?
Yeah, we've got a free course available for you guys there, as well as a free book download. So definitely check that out if this is something that's interesting to you and you kind of want to learn those next steps. generationsofwealth.com/RAL.
Couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, I didn't say it better myself. You did perfect. You always do perfect. Good Lord. Well, Isabelle, so great to see you. Thank you for being on the show. I can't wait to see you in person. Hopefully sooner rather than later. It's been a little while. I think it's been 6 months or 12 months since we've actually seen each other in person. Yeah. But thank you for giving us a portion of your day. You're just a godsend.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. To everybody else, thanks for being on the show. Remember to please get out there, share this show, spread the wealth, the Generations of Wealth message. Live your vision, love your life, and we'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Derek Dombeck. Welcome to the Elite Negotiations Academy. Whether you're just getting started out or you've been in your business for a long, long time, improving your skills as a negotiator is vital. And I feel like you have found the best place to truly become a master of negotiations. So, welcome. This coaching program is designed to help you become a master at negotiations. So what can you expect? We're going to listen to negotiations that were recorded of either other members or myself and break down what happened throughout that entire conversation. You also get access to our private community and all of our past sessions that we record. So let me tell you what the Elite Negotiations Academy is really going to do for you. We're going to deep dive into real life negotiation scenarios and help you understand what works and what doesn't work, and more importantly, how to pivot in real time. Our coaching calls will help you stay sharp, and you'll always be learning with direct coaching from experts who have closed millions of dollars in deals. As part of our private community, you'll be able to network, share, and grow with a community of like-minded professionals committed to success. Also, you'll have access to all of our previous coaching calls, so you never miss a beat. You can revisit our extensive library of coaching sessions and learn at your pace anytime you want. In addition, Elite Negotiations Academy members will get benefits to other exclusive deals and opportunities as they come available from Generations of Wealth. So the real reason that I'm passionate about the Elite Negotiations Academy is because for years, I've privately mentored people, I've partnered with people on deals, and as part of that, I've been interacting with them and teaching them how to properly negotiate and how to talk to people, whether it's on the phone or in person. And I've seen what a huge difference it's made. And they've told me what a huge difference it's made. So honestly, after years and years of keeping this to myself, it's time to open it up to the public. You becoming a member of the Elite Negotiations Academy makes you one of the small percentage of entrepreneurs that actually gets it, that actually understands that negotiations is the number one skill that you should learn to increase your revenue. It's not more marketing. It's not more dollars spent in fancy apps. It's figuring out how to talk to people. That is 100% what I'm all about. I've got a friend named Andrew that I've been working with for years. And Andrew and I, we partner on deals. And oftentimes he will call me, we'll listen to a pre-recorded conversation that he had with a seller. And as we analyze that, not only is he understanding how to talk to that person better, but we're deal structuring. We're talking about all the different possibilities that could be done with that transaction, not just how to actually negotiate and talk. As a member of the Academy, the byproduct is you're going to get relationships through the community. You're going to learn how to deal structure by default as you learn how to talk to people and negotiate like a master. So here's your first lesson, and you're not even a member of the Academy yet. What you're going to learn and what is so important is how to overcome objections. So I can imagine that you have some objections as to why you don't want to join the Elite Negotiations Academy right now. Perhaps you don't think you have enough time. Well, that's why we record all the calls, and you can go back and listen to them anytime that you want. Perhaps you're shy and you don't really want to be talking to other people one-on-one right away. That's why you're going to join the community, and you're going to learn how to interact with all the other members, and they're going to become your friends, and possibly you'll end up doing deals together in the future. Who knows? What's another objection? The cost. Will I really get the value of what I'm paying for the Academy? Well, let's talk about that. For this low cost that you're paying, which, by the way, you can walk away from any time. There is no commitment. As soon as you say, I've had enough, you stop your monthly recurring payment. But if you learn one or two skills that gets you one deal a year and you make $20,000 off of an average deal, how many months of the Academy can you pay for? So I've just overcome 3 objections that I know you're thinking. Why? Because that's what I would think. And that's your first lesson of many that you're going to get as a member of the Elite Negotiations Academy. Don't let another opportunity pass you by. Take control of your financial future. Take control of your business. Join the Elite Negotiations Academy, and you will become a master negotiator.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful episode of Generations of Wealth. May your newfound knowledge help you in leveling up your own strategies to get through the many obstacles to your money-making processes and bring you much closer to the financially secure life you truly deserve. Continue filling up your accounts and further polish your financial tactics by listening to more episodes of the podcast at thegenerationsofwealth.com. Because in your wealth building journey, there is no other way to go but up, giving you the chance to finally live your vision, love your life. That's all for now. See you on the next one.